Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another episode of, I think we'll call this one Scientology Secrets. This is a Q&A. We're going to do a Q&A, and joined with me today is my lovely wife, Claire.
Hey. Great to see everybody. Thanks for joining us today.
As usual, we want you to let us know where you're watching from or listening from. And the secret word today is secrets with an S. We are going to talk about a bunch of Scientology secrets today. And if you want to enter in to win we do a giveaway at the end of each episode. We sometimes people would pay us to do a giveaway, and so we'd always end up doing a giveaway. So now we just do we do one giveaway no matter what at the end of each video, and then that way we don't have to have people sending in donations to prompt us to do a giveaway.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so if you want to put up we'll put up some of the folks where they're coming in from here. You can read them.
Yes. Looking forward to a live Ham Me Too Pagan. All right.
It's ham it up again, babe.
Ham it up again. And she's on a roll. Becky, Big Brother fan. Yes, can't wait to see this. Katie D. Yes, 7 p.m. Ireland. I'll be there. Awesome. Thanks for joining us, Katie. Love Food Kitchen in the house. I'm happy the thumbnail includes an updated photo with the magnificent beard. Marc, I'm not suggesting Claire is sporting a beard these days, although she can if she wants, of course. Well, thank you for your equality.
You cannot. How about that?
Anita, looking forward to another live. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, Anita. Hi from the Netherlands. There you go. Awesome. Claudia Rupp. Claudia from Wisconsin. Awesome. Thank you for joining us. Lupita, any guesses on the word of the day? My guess is #beard. There you go. Yeah, no.
It's secrets.
It's got to be on topic for what we're covering. That's the only requirement. Or even beard for good.
What did Scientology try to get the nickname changed to?
So we all know it's blown for good. Scientology, during our lawsuit, was trying to run this whole campaign that they were going to make us broke for good. Fail. Beard for good is a much happier twist on blown for good.
Beard for good.
Hi, Claire, Marc, and everybody. I'm enjoying a rare cloudy day in Central Texas and looking forward to some culty secrets. Goldenrod SP, love to all. Nice. Thank you for joining us, KB. Auntie Patty is an SP. New London, Connecticut. Sweet. Thank you for joining us. Hi from DC. Awesome. Greetings from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Betsy Sue. Just call me Betsy. Shannon Graves. Hello from Central Florida. Thanks for joining us, Shannon. Good to see you. Becky, Big Brother fan. Good evening from Reading, Berkshire. Nice. One Love 51,000. Hello from Pennsylvania. Awesome. AGT Mom, North Carolina here. Sweet. Good to see you. Kit Kat, hi from the UK. #secrets. Yes, boom. Secrets from Connecticut. Awesome. So I have a question there. There was a space in between the hashtag and secrets. Is that going to be entered, or should we tell her to do it again?
I don't know. I don't know. StreamYard. I won a few weeks ago.
I saw that. It was the week that I was on vacation.
Seems like StreamYard's up for anything.
Getting some R&R. Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of up for anything, Claire.
Wait a minute.
She doesn't want to wear her glasses, even though she needs to wear glasses to read. But she figured out how to make the font so big on the comments that she can just read it that way. But I said, "Oh, you're going to be free balling today with no glasses." She said, "No, free wheeling." And I said, "No, it's free balling." And she says, No. And then tell them what you told me.
So my point was, hey, we're a Blown for Good channel. We talk about exposing Scientology. So you know how young beard man over here has a fascination with talking about the alien aspect of certain cults, specifically Scientology. And therefore, I explained to him that as part of the Wall of Fire, OT3,
Operating Thetan Level 3.
Operating Thetan Level 3, where you address and supposedly release your body Thetans. if you're not doing a good job, then your body thetans start freewheeling.
This is the
which
best.
means
This
they
is a secret.
become,
This is a Scientology secret.
it really is, which means that they become the dominant being and they take over. And so, for example, when I was escaping, Greg Wilhair, the, David Miscavige's deputy, said, "You're freewheeling." I'm like, whatever.
That means the BTs are controlling you and you're no longer in control of your body, but the BTs are controlling you.
You've let your case get out of control.
Are you guys hearing this? This is some Scientology secret action right here. They think that the aliens can take over, and this is called freewheeling. Okay. And I just think freewheeling is a funny word.
It is. It kind of reminds me of that Blade Runner movie.
It kind of reminds you of Blade freewheeling. What do they say in Blade Runner?
Don't they just
when the robots go out of control, they start freewheeling because they're doing their own thing now.
Yes.
They're not doing their job. They're doing they're on a walkabout.
Right. Exactly. Or, Terminator or whatever, like alien takeovers.
That's crazy, guys. This is crazy. This is a real thing in Scientology. We're not
not making
making this up. Freewheeling is actually a thing.
Yep.
Now, the reason why we wanted to do this episode today was, I want to say last year sometime we updated the Blown for Good website. Okay. We had not updated it in like 10 years or something like that.
Yeah.
It was
even more.
Just sold the book. That's it. We just had a book on there. It sold my book. And that's really all the website was. And it was a place to send people to so they could buy my book. And then, last year sometime we updated it. And even though our old website was just a podunk like page that sold a book, it was tried to get hacked by Scientology. Tried to hack this website. I lost count.
Yeah.
It just was always a thing that, the website's down again. I'd be like, oh man. And then we'd have to update something, because when the site gets attacked, the people that are hosting the site, they don't want you to get compromised. So they just turn the site off, or they basically just say, hey, there's a bunch of issues with the site. We're going to turn it off and you got to fix this. You got to fix something. Anyway, and so over the years, we had like the highest level security you could get on the site. And we have to basically have a web person full time. I can't keep up with webs. I got enough work to do on my own. I can't be keeping up with website nonsense. Anyway, so we've always pretty much had a website person. And then finally, we just said, hey, you know what? We're going to get a whole new site. We're going to upgrade the whole thing. We're also going to make it so people can send us messages. Okay. So they can just go on the site and put a message in and then send it. And it was awesome. And for the first few months, it was like, we were getting a few messages here and there. People were using it to send us messages.
Right. But to be honest, speaking for myself and all this, when we do the giveaways, I always give the whole spiel that everyone's familiar with of send me an email, claire@blownforgood.com. And I kind of forgot that we had this other avenue for people to send us messages.
Yeah. So we started getting messages just on the email and through social media on X and Facebook or whatever. Anyway, somebody, I want to say, if Bear's mom is in here, if anybody sees Bear's mom, it was Bear's mom sent us a message.
Mm-hmm. She did.
And then she wrote in the comments of a video or some other way. She said, hey, did you get my message?
Yes.
And we didn't get her message. And we were like, I don't know. I didn't get a message.
So I answered and I said, hey, thanks so much. No, I did not get your message. Can you please resend it? So then she said, okay, I did that. And then I'm like, okay, now something funny's going on, because I have definitely not received the message. And then she said, I sent it through your website. And which is what was like, oh, wait a minute. Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah. So then we found the messages.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like about 2 months into the new message system, we had to update the website, or there was something. And when we did that, it broke the part that once you send the message, it then forwards it to us. So that forwarding part was off.
So instead, the bucket was just filling. And it wasn't going anywhere, which is unfortunate.
So I told Claire, I said, we should just do 1 hour, just Q&A the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
even though we've been yapping half this time anyway. I don't know.
Mhm.
And then we would just answer a lot of these questions. And I told Claire, let's go through them and make sure that there's stuff we haven't covered a million times and that there's sort of like secrets that Scientology doesn't want you to know about.
Mhm. Yep.
So what's the first? Oh, look at people. Oh, look, Shannon says, Mark, these are not the secrets Claire wanted out.
True. That is true.
I said, speaking of freewheeling, or speaking of freeballing, or whatever it was. Anyway, okay. So what's the first one? Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. So are you going to pull up the note?
The note?
Yeah, don't we have things ready? Well, either way.
Oh my God, now she wants me to do a note. What note? You got to send me a note if you want to do it.
Yeah, well, then fine. I'll just read it, for which I'm going to need my glasses.
Oh, I can pull it up. I can pull it up. You just have
Okay.
to show me where it is. I don't have anything.
I texted it to you.
Oh my God, folks. Here it is.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I got it.
Viewer messages.
Viewer messages.
I
Here
found
we go.
it. I found
Perfect.
it.
Okay.
I found it.
We're good. Nothing is, you know what? I won't say the word.
Here we go. Viewer messages. Okay, good. Da, 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 da. Okay, RTC previous. Okay, you want me to read this? Because now I have to read it. Or do you want to just explain it?
Yeah, so I'll give the backstory first. So in going through the messages from viewers, which thank you very much to everybody who sent us a message, and we will be getting back to you. Somebody sent us a message, and we won't mention any names unless you say it's okay for us to mention who you are. So all of these are anonymous, other than Bear's mom, who we already said thank you to. A viewer sent us a message referencing the fact that last year in Leah Remini's court case, Mike Rinder and I both submitted extensive affidavits, and mine specifically covered what's known as matters of RTC, Religious Technology Center, David Miscavige's organization. So matters of RTC concern. And it was long lists of all the things that Religious Technology Center can investigate as the internal affairs section of Scientology or the Inspector General Network.
It's basically like a get out of jail free card for David Miscavige, because when L. Ron Hubbard wrote everything up about Scientology, he made all these rules for the organization so that nobody can just come in and do whatever they want. They got to go through what these things are called command channels, and has to go through this person that basically makes it so every part of Scientology is siloed. And there's only a certain way to get into a certain part of it, and it has to be through this whole structure. Well, when David Miscavige set up Religious Technology Center, he basically wrote these things that are called matters of RTC concern, and it lists out all these things that RTC has the authority to basically just come into any organization in all of Scientology if any one of these things are present, or they suspect are present, these nefarious activities and trying to do bad things inside Scientology. And these matters of RTC concern basically give him permission to, whenever he wants, he can go into any organization and order or take somebody off of their post or declare somebody as suppressive or whatever. That pretty much is it, right?
Correct. Yes, which is how David Miscavige is involved in overseeing all of the fair game operations. That's how he had involvement in the wrongful death of Lisa McPherson at the Fort Harrison. Anyway, there's a whole long list of things that we could cite and give specifics that David Miscavige was directly involved in. But the matters of RTC concern document how that is possible. That's the point. So this viewer sent us this email and pointed out to us correctly and astutely, and thank you so much for bringing this to our attention, that within the last month, the matters of RTC concern have been completely struck from the RTC website. Boom, eliminated, gone. And we thought, you know what, this is worth talking about, because Scientology has this history of revisionism. Like, for example, ask any Scientologist, hey, are you aware that the FBI raided Scientology in LA and in Canada, and, you know, not the FBI, but government agencies? And I'm willing to bet you money that any current Scientologist will be unaware of that. They won't know about Mary Sue Hubbard. They won't know about Shelley Miscavige. They won't know about the raids. It's just, and again, that's a well-known example, but this is fascinating.
Yeah. The other thing is they took it off all of the Scientology org boards.
Mhm.
So in Scientology, when you are at an organization, L. Ron Hubbard wrote this policy called the organizing board. And every Scientology organization has an organizing board, and it's usually 7 divisions, and it has divisions and department heads and all these things. And then it has the administrative council, which is all of the division heads. And then it has this thing called the executive council, which is all of the executives that preside over multiple divisions. It's them as a committee. And then it has the executive director at the top and a few other folks. But then off to the side in a triangle, they have Religious Technology Center.
Mhm.
Basically, everybody else has to go through all these command channels, but this triangle can basically enter into the organization at any point that it wants to. And when I went to go Google one of these things, all the triangles had been removed. There's no versions of it out there that have RTC on it anymore, except for on this guy named Mike Rinder on his podcast page. He has an old copy that hadn't been revised, and it shows the command chart of Scientology. And you see at the top, it has this triangle, and the triangle basically symbolizes, that's sort of RTC's, one of their imagery,
Yeah, and it's defined as, it's specifically a triangle because you can slide it up and down, being it can go into any level of any Scientology organization, as also documented by the matters of RTC concern that conveniently now, though they've been in existence since 1984, are now just gone, vanished, boom, removed.
This is an interesting document too, because it shows every single thing in Scientology on one page.
Mhm.
So you can see Celebrity Center there, and you can see you have the Watchdog Committee. Like basically everybody in this top square is at the Int Base.
Right, and
Or rectangle, sorry.
Like Watchdog Committee has now also been abolished by David Miscavige.
Yeah, but my point is that you have Religious Technology Center up here at the top in the triangle.
Yeah.
And then you have CMO Int, which is Commodore's Messenger Organization International. And then I can't see what that little box says, but it's probably something like the networks or something like that. Then you have Executive Director International, and then you have Golden Era Productions. So this entire box, that was all at 19625 Highway 79, Gilman Hot Springs, California. I think it's actually
92756 or something like that.
92583, babe.
925.
Take it easy.
Falling down in my old age, and my memory might be getting a tad rusty, along with my eyeballs.
The worst thing is I know all the LA addresses too.
Yes.
6331 Hollywood Boulevard, 90028.
Hey, I remember my phone number from when I was 10 years old. I remember the St. Hill, England phone number, 24571.
Okay. Anyway, this triangle can go into any of these points. Then you have the next. It's actually, I'll show this. This is another good secret. So the international headquarters of all of Scientology, this top rectangle is in Gilman Hot Springs, California. You just look up Golden Era Productions, and you could Google Maps, anything, it'll tell you that's there. This next box, this is 6331 Hollywood Boulevard, where it says FCB, the Flag Command Bureau. They've had many, many different names over the years.
Yeah.
FLO, ILO, whatever. But this whole box of all these organizations.
You have word salad in the real world, but in Scientology, there's acronym salad. It's it's just, as you guys know, we try hard to not go there, but, feel free to criticize us when we slip.
Clara says, y'all's good memories scare me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it should.
Marc has photographic memory. I have numeric memory, right, Annie?
Yes, I would say so. She can remember like bank cards from 8 years ago.
Employer identification numbers, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so this next box down that's 6331 Hollywood Boulevard. That is what's called the Hollywood Guarantee Building, and it's an old bank building that was bought by Scientology in the 1980s, and it was refurbished, and that's where of all these boxes are. And then as you go over to the lower one, you have the Continental Liaison Offices. So these are all like East US, West US, ANZO, whatever they call Denmark, EU, UK. That's all those Sea Org bases are in that box. And then you have CMO Cont. So in each continent, or where there's one of these Continental Liaison Office, there's a Commodore's Messenger org for that continent. And then you have what's called FSSO. That's the Flagship Service Organization. That's the Free Winds. So that's the organization on the Free Winds is kind of like its own continent. And then it has 3 organizations. It's crazy. On this one ship, they have 3 different organizations, and they all have their own org boards, and they all have their own accounting systems. It's
actually
all
4 when you count IAS being on there.
Oh my God, that's right, 4. So you have what's called the FSSO. That's the Flagship Service Organization.
Correct. Yep.
Then you have the crew.
Flag crew, yeah.
Well, what do they call it? Ship crew.
Yeah.
They call it ship crew because flag has flag crew.
FC something or other.
Flag service, whatever. It's the crew. It's the crew organization, whatever.
Flagship crew organization.
Okay.
I think
and then they have the CMO ship.
Yes.
So they have a CMO organization, a set of these young gals running around yelling at people.
The Ms. Wongs for the CMO ship.
And then they have the IASA, which is the IAS administrations. And the reason they have all these in this one place is because they're in international waters.
Yes. And by the way, circling back to viewer messages, somebody asked, like, hey, why haven't they, so with all the real estate holdings and, expansion and ideal org program, they asked, why haven't they done that with a cruise ship? Because it's just this tiny podunk boat from the 80s compared to, anyway. And the answer to that from me is they have had so many problems with staff on that ship because they tend to be disconnected and they can't be controlled so much.
Yeah.
And they've just had so many issues. That's why they haven't gotten a bigger or done more cruise ships.
I think you're 100% right about that. I think they have.
Shelley Miscavige used to call it the love boat. Did you know that?
Yeah. And also, isn't that where there used to be a really hot steward that would kind of show herself off for Dave? And didn't Shelley sent her to the cruise ship as sort of a banishment?
Yeah, that's where they would banish anybody that they didn't want. Like that's what they did to Valeska Paris. That's what they did to Don Jason.
That's right. That used to be, it basically was like you were being sent somewhere to be controlled, but it was the nicest of places to get sent. So you're in the Caribbean, you're on a ship, whatever, but most of those people could never leave the ship. When they would go to islands or they would dock somewhere, they weren't allowed to get off the ship. They were basically secured or restricted to the ship itself.
That's right.
Don Jason, you can look up Don Jason's story. I'm pretty sure Don Jason climbed down the rope.
Oh no, he zip lined.
He like took a shirt.
Yeah, no, it was covered in a Tampa Bay Times article.
Like some hardcore getaway action right there. And these these are Scientology secrets, folks.
Yep. The things Scientology would much rather you not.
But the reason I was highlighting the ship thing is because they're in international waters. The International Association of Scientologists takes in all these these are where you get these $10 million donations and $5 million, 1 million and 30 million. And so there's a benefit for them operating out of the Netherlands or Panama or whatever flag they're flying under to basically not have to worry about any problems with the dough.
I'm willing to bet money that Scientology has thoroughly investigated how to maximize use of offshore accounts, among other things.
You don't think? Listen to CSI FSO over here. Anyway, okay, what's another thing I'll pull up the notes?
Yeah, okay, let's pull up the notes. Good idea.
So that we did RTC matters. We did matters of concern.
You want me to read the next one that I have?
Sure.
All right, I'll go ahead and put my glasses on. Okay, so let's see. Oh, this was just a funny one that I thought you might enjoy, honey.
Yeah.
Because of you guys, whenever I see R2D2 put his probe in a port, I immediately think R2D2 out 2D. Out 2D, of course, being the Scientology
Yeah.
for,
Sexual relations without proper
without
clearance.
marital preordainment or whatever you call it.
R2D2 was getting it on with another computer there.
Anyway, dear Mark and Claire, I'm now reading your astonishing Blown for Good, a riveting and enjoyable read. I've also read the accounts of their escapes from Scientology by Mike Rinder, Leah Remini, Jenna Miscavige, Hill, along with the stories of less well-known people who have been held against their will at Scientology bases and had to escape. I have one burning question. Why in the have law enforcement agencies, local, state, and federal, not raided Gold Base and kicked in the doors? It would seem that they have ample evidence of kidnapping, false imprisonment, thousands of violations of child labor laws, and just possibly much worse. Is Shelley Miscavige even alive? I doubt it. Thank you for making your stories public. I believe your book and those of other defectors from that depraved cult will help bring this organization down. There you go. That's the message. So yes, law enforcement. There are many ongoing investigations. I know it's frustratingly slow.
Yep.
It's been 15 years ago you and I were confidential informants.
Yeah, for the FBI. Claire and I have seen drone footage, government drone footage of the headquarters of Scientology. They were watching them. They had people all over the place keeping eyes on them. And it's funny, when we had our lawsuit against Scientology, this is what Scientology does. They use the lawsuits to smoke out any weaknesses, and they have billions of dollars worth of attorneys that rearrange and say, you've got to do this, or you got to do that, you got to do this. And then they make these things into existence. And so in our case, we were saying, hey, there's people living and working at this place, and they're not allowed to leave. Well, that's a huge human trafficking indicator if you have someone living and working in the same location. And so and also if you're making things that are for sale.
Right.
So if you're producing a product and it's for sale and you live and work all in the same place, that happens. That's pretty much.
And especially if you add in details like they hold your passports.
Yes.
They read your mail. You cannot call out, just minor details like that. That kind of adds to and compounds the problem.
So as one of the things Scientology did was they cut off all production of anything at that property. So there was a huge manufacturing facility there at that property that would make DVDs and CDs and laser discs and VHS tapes and cassette tapes and all these different things. And what they did was they essentially abolished all of that and had to move it to Los Angeles, because in Los Angeles they were setting up these printing facilities. They basically just took everything and put it into these facilities. And excuse me. And so they shut down all of the things that got produced at that Gilman Hot Springs property because of this thing where people were living and working. So it's okay if they have people that are managing people there, because they're not producing any income. They're not generating revenue by selling something. So, and essentially what they're doing now is, from what we've been told, is that everybody there at the property just cleans film, like original negatives. They're going through and cleaning them in the computer, and they're doing busy work as long as they need to, until everybody there just dies out, and then that property can just be nothing.
Yeah, and which I heard from somebody recently that got a tour of that property, and they just said there was barely any staff visible or present, and that it, of course, felt extremely staged. And I was like, well, yeah, it's been staged since we were there, since it's just long term. That's what they do. With Scientology, you only ever see what they want you to see, which is why we've always been a pain in their side.
Yeah. Well, then the other thing was, so that was the sort of the manufacturing part of it. Well, Also, what happened at that property, and one of the things I was heavily involved in the manufacturing, but I was heavily involved in this other aspect, was that we shot TV commercials, we shot ads for Scientology, we shot internal Scientology fundraising videos, we shot Scientology technical training films and public information series. Well, those items will often get turned into something that's either sold to Scientology individuals or sold to Scientology organizations. So none of that could be happening there. And I want to say, up until 2005, when we left, we'd probably spent $100 million either building buildings, setting up equipment, building that giant film studio, all the film equipment, all of there's
the printing.
That was the part of the manufacturing.
Right.
But I'm saying in terms of just the media and audio and video production and film production, there's multiple studios. There's the L. Ron Hubbard Music Studio. There's the Studio 1, Studio 2, Ron's Audio Visual Studio. There's 14 audio recording booths, all the multi-language, all the Spanish, Castilian, and Taiwanese. They have all these individual studios. We should probably do another tour of the Gold Base at one time where we just go through every single place and all the stuff that was there.
Yeah.
That could be awesome. Part of the Scientology Secrets series.
There we go. Love
Maybe
it.
this should be a new series, Scientology Secrets. And this will be the first episode.
Sounds
we can
good.
Just do Scientology Secrets every week. But anyway, so they set up this giant manufacturing place, and then they set up another place called Scientology Media Productions. And that used this old studio that used to belong to KCET. And so now all the things that manufacturing at Golden Era Productions are being done at this place. I think they call it Alice, or I can't remember the name of the building they call it. And then this new place, Scientology Media Productions, those two buildings replaced the Gold Base. And all of the people that were in management, remember when we showed you that board where they had these guys at the top here, the watchdog committee, all of those guys, they do nothing. They just, they don't have any purpose. David Miscavige, his little triangle replaced every single thing in that top box.
Yep.
Every single thing that was in that box.
So if you just grow that triangle to just block out that rectangular box, that's kind of what happened, right?
Exactly. So
graphically, that's what took place.
And we think one of the reasons this is being done is because, again, like when Scientology, we say, hey, they live there, they work there, they sell things there, poof, they move all that away. Yep. Okay, now another lawsuit comes along and says, David Miscavige controls the entire thing, and that's why they have this matters of art. Now that's gone.
Yeah.
And now the triangles are disappearing. So each time.
Hey, labor law violations. Oh, guess what, everybody? You're a volunteer. Sign a new 10-page document that says you're a volunteer and you're totally fine with working 150 hours a week or whatever the maximum number of hours in a week for $46 a week.
Yeah. Okay. What's another thing we wanted to talk about?
Okay, let me get my notes back up again here. Okay, so next on the list. Let's see here. I want to personally thank you, Claire and Marc, for teaching me about what Scientology really is and its dehumanizing tactics, along with Leah, Christy, Amy, Matt, John Atek, and of course, Mike Render. Thank you very much. Question, really wanting to read your book. I have an Amazon gift card, but your book is $134 on there. Is there a reason the price is so high on there compared to everywhere else? So the reason I put this on the list is just to tell everybody, we do not sell Marc's book on Amazon anymore.
Except for Kindle.
Oh, yes.
And Audible.
Yes. Kindle and Audible. Sorry. But the actual physical book, we just sell that on the website. Because it was just easier and less hassle and frankly cheaper.
Yeah. And in the very beginning, when we first were selling the book on Amazon, it was easy peasy. We fulfilled it. Everything was fine. Over the years, when Amazon started sort of saying, hey, we're not going to offer this as Prime or whatever unless you give it to us. And then they charge you for giving it to them. They charge you for
storing
them
it. And then if you don't do fulfillment by Amazon, you're not the preferential seller. It's just ridiculous. I mean, the terms of service has gone through so many evolutions and iterations that it's kind of scary.
Yeah. Anyway, so on Amazon, we have the Kindle and we have the Audible. And the reason you have to use Amazon is because they're the biggest. So you got to put it on there.
Right.
But you can get it anywhere. You can get it on Apple, any place you want to get the book, the audio book, or the Kindle. You can pretty much get it, the digital book. You can get it anywhere on any service.
Yeah, but also selling through the BFG website means that every single copy is signed by both Marc and I.
That's right.
So, and there you go.
And it's the same price it was when it was on Amazon unsigned. So
yep, exactly.
We're trying here, folks. But the other thing is that Scientology, they kept trying to hack our website. And so sometimes people wouldn't be able to get the book because we were just selling it through the website. So the way we have it now, it's in a store and it's not even us really. The store end is fourth wall. So they take care of everything and they have much more robust security than we could ever have.
Yes, exactly. All right, next one. Hi, Claire and Marc. I listened to your podcast and I joined your YouTube channel, but I have not yet been able to figure out how to watch you live. I know you two have other businesses, but how do people know when you are going live and where do I go to see you both live?
That's a great question.
Yes.
All you have to do is click the subscribe button and then there's a little bell. And if you click the bell, then you'll get notified. You also have to make sure you have it set up so that YouTube can notify you. But either way, if you have it set up, you'll get when we post. We usually post a day or two before we're going to do a video. And then when the video goes live, you get notified, hey, these guys went live. And we try to vamp it up for a few minutes in the beginning. So you get a few minutes if you see it. And then if you don't, you just watch the replay. And it's really the same thing, except for it's not as much possibility that we're going to read your comment if you're watching it 4 hours after we did the video.
True. And for the most part, now we have started to get into a bit of a routine where every Sunday we try, work and family schedule permitting.
Yeah. We've been doing a video every Sunday for a few weeks now. And supposedly people like it. So we'll keep doing it. If you guys like it, there's more people watching. But if it does help us, it's a silly thing, but YouTube is a reward-based system. And if you don't get the reward of the subscription, they don't really hook you up and kind of move you into people's things to view.
Yeah.
But if you hit the subscribe button, it at least shows the video is there to be watched and to more people. And
it also improves our chances of getting into Scientologist feeds who need to know that they have a way out and that there are many people who are willing to help them do that. So. Yeah,
that's true. And we do. And to be honest, and this is a huge problem with our channel, is that we do have quite a bit of Scientologists that watch and they ain't subscribing because they know Scientology is going to figure out how to hack their YouTube and figure out that they subscribe to us. So they don't subscribe. They just don't. Everyone we've talked to is like, are you crazy?
Yeah, exactly. And I think, what I think that has to do with is that involves an action. For a Scientologist, that they just watched something isn't necessarily it just happened to come on.
But if they click 100% a thing.
If they click a button, that means they did something. It's an overt that they committed.
It's an overt of commission, which is much worse than an overt of omission.
Yes. Oops, I omitted to click off the page when the video started playing is much worse than I pushed a button and subscribed.
I fat fingered a comment, so I'm just going to answer it while you figure out.
I'll read it out.
Okay, good.
How come the FBI closed down Nixium and sent Keith to prison for 120 years and DM David Miscavige is still sleeping on his own bed every night? Right. So Scientology was well ahead of Keith. Had he formed it as a religion,
yes,
he would have been fine, right?
Yes, that's exactly
Sarah Edmondson and I talked about this on
that's right.
Interview that we did on the channel.
Podcast on her. We'll put a link to that in the description.
Yes.
Remind me to do that, somebody.
Okay.
Anyway,
somebody
yes.
Meaning me or
Thank
Clara.
you, 420 Audits Ireland. Hey, we got somebody from Ireland who had a good comment there.
Nice.
Yeah. The one thing that Keith Rainieri, or however you say his name, messed up is that he didn't make it a religion. So
Yes.
sucks to suck. Okay, back to your list there.
Okay, here we go.
We'll do questions in 10 minutes. We'll do questions and then the giveaway.
Okay, perfect. First and most importantly, I want to extend you my sympathy for the loss of your dear friend, Mike Rinder. Such a brave soul. I listen on Castbox. I can only access the Q&A episodes as podcasts. I have not seen a Spy Files or any of Claire's interviews since back in October 2024. Where can I access the Spy Files and Claire's interviews? Help! There you go.
I think that's on the podcast. I have to figure that out. I don't think I ever released the Spy Files as a podcast because I was going through all these documents.
Oh, okay.
I'll have to look at that. But either way, you can get the Spy Files. All the Spy Files are on YouTube, and that's where I essentially read all of the Scientology internal documents that were on me that I was able to get a hold of after Mike left. And then I also, there's a bunch of other documents that I've read on there too about all these other internal documents of Scientology. I might go through and do more of them in the future. It takes a lot of work to go through that because there's just thousands and thousands of, I think it's 40,000 pages of documents in there.
Yeah. And translating to even be able to understand what's being talked about, it may as well be in a foreign language.
It is. It's all in Scientologies. And it's just, there's so much, you have to say who the players on the document are. Then you have to explain a bunch of terms. Then it's a lot of work to sort of, but if you like that and you see the Spy Files, then comment and bloopity blip bloppity in the comments, and maybe we'll do some more of those.
Oh, would you put up this comment from Nasty Nathaniel, by the way? I just noticed it and it was worth.
Okay. Is it in the,
it's in the recent chat.
Did somebody star it?
No.
Okay.
I have a question, Mark. I read your book, Blown for Good. Fascinating read. I wanted to know if security guard Danny Dunnigan was really as bad as he's been in videos. Yes.
That is absolutely a great question, Nathaniel. If you read, I'm pretty sure Danny's pretty prominent in the book as well.
Yes.
But I don't know. I'm going to tell you a story about, I don't know that I even wrote this in the book about the night vision goggles.
I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't think you did. I think it was one that didn't make it.
Okay. We lived in a house on Sublet Road, which was right next to the international headquarters on the golf course. It was a very nice house 50 years ago, and it never was ever upgraded when Scientology bought it. But we lived in this house, and we were with multiple couples, at least 2 other couples. If they weren't married, it was just 2 girls that were in a room together, and another couple. We lived with, I remember all different houses we lived in.
Yeah, the one that you escaped from was with Lyman Spurlock and Carol Spurlock, Mike Sutter and Anka Sutter. And
didn't we have like Tori or one other person that lived in the other room for? Anyway,
maybe.
At least we had this room with 2 other couples. When we moved into the house, it was somebody's house that lived there for 20 years on the golf course. And then they sold it and moved on, and they just left all their stuff there. They didn't take anything with them. Like the kitchen table was their kitchen table. The kitchen table that we had in that house was the kitchen table from the people that lived there before.
Yeah.
Anyway, the garage was full of junk. And I started going through the garage one day, just looking through stuff at, 1:30 in the morning when I got home. And I found a pair of night vision goggles. And they were amazing. Like they were military goggles that were night vision. Anyway, and I can't remember why, but for some reason, Danny Dunnigan was at our house and they were doing an inspection, and they confiscated the night vision goggles. And I was like, what? It was the weirdest thing. Why would you do that? Anyway, he just wanted them. So he confiscated them because why would I need those? And then I found out from other security guards that was a thing that Danny did. He just picked through people's stuff. And when they left, when somebody blew, he did the same thing. He'd go through their stuff and they'd cherry pick the good stuff. And then the person, if they even asked for their stuff, which most of the time they wouldn't, but if they did ask for their stuff to be sent to them, they'd still have to be in touch with Scientology.
And that's probably, by the way, a huge part of why they started inventorying people's belongings.
100%.
We'll absolutely have to do a deep dive on our inventory.
Yes.
It's 60 pages.
We will do that.
Yeah.
We
totally.
should do that.
We should absolutely do that. It's crazy. You have not seen.
That's a good Scientology secrets one.
It is completely. And we can talk about what led up to it. Like the people who escaped, whose gold coins vanished, things like that. We got
so many good ones.
And plus I have stories about this from when I was in the cadet organization as a child. They did the same thing back then in England.
Yeah. Apostate Alex says, in the outside world, that's called theft.
Completely. It is theft.
So back to Nasty Nathaniel. Yes, Danny is a huge D-bag in real life, in videos, in my book, in his own life. He is just a giant piece.
But let me tell my most recent Danny Dunnigan story. So I want to say it was in, 2010. I was working with Tom Tobin and Joe Childs from Tampa Bay Times at the time, doing a whole, they were essentially doing a whole reenactment with me of when I escaped. Like, what happened? Where were you? We literally went everywhere. We went to the house on Sublette Road. We went to the Riverside bus station. We went to the Walmart. Anyway, we go to Sublette Road, which is a quarter of a mile down the road from the property and connected.
It's directly adjacent to the property line,
right?
And it's on the entirety property line of the golf course, which is also owned by them. So Sublette Road, for all intents and purposes, was completely surrounded by Scientology property, the entire road.
Yes.
And the only part that wasn't was the highway.
Right.
The part that it wasn't was the Highway 79.
Yes. Okay. So we're in the car with Joe Childs, Tom Tobin, pull up on Sublette Road. So as we're pulling into the road before we even get to our house, they said to me, Joe specifically turned to me and he said, so how long do you think it's going to take for security to show up? I was like, maybe a minute, maybe two. And they were like, no way. And sure enough, the car stopped. Joe opened the door. Before I even opened my door, boom, there's Danny Dunnigan.
On a bike or in the car?
On a bike.
Car, on a motorcycle.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, see, they don't mess
This is
around.
private property. We're going to call the police. So
on Sublette Road even.
Right.
Which is not private property.
No, completely.
They even put a stanchion in the middle of the road and said private property when it was not private property.
Exactly.
They would do what? They do wild stuff out there.
They do. Yeah. So
okay, I think we should do some questions and then we should do the giveaway.
So lots more viewer emails to go through. So maybe we'll do another episode of this. KB, hi Claire, Mark, and everybody. Oh, we already did this one, honey.
Oh,
yep.
I did. We did all these.
Yep. Oh no, Bird Life. Hello from the London suburbs. Awesome. Hey, Bird Life.
We got friends in Cobham and all over the place.
Yeah.
How about that?
Family.
Yeah.
Mary Kay London, hi from Albuquerque. Hello.
Do we do these? Do we do the people? No one's starring anything, folks. I'm just going to show them again. If we showed them already. Okay. Sorry.
From Texas, y'all. Lupita. Hello, Lupita.
I was trying to get. Oh my gosh, the star people are going out of control. There's 56 questions.
It's okay. Don't take it easy.
Holy moly.
Nasty Nathaniel, that was a fascinating story. Thank you for sharing that. I don't know if you know this, but the last time I went to Int Base, Sublette Road had been torn up and the house demolished. Yeah, that totally makes sense. If they can't get the road closed, they'll just destroy it.
Yeah, know what?
That's a way to do it.
What I was told they did was they essentially bought every single property on Sublette Road. That was the first step. And some of these properties they bought for over $1 million. They weren't worth $1 million, but because everybody everybody along Sublette Road knew that no matter what, they're gonna buy your house. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter.
And they had already done that for all the houses that were up on the hillside, because those ones looked into and they were over and looked down into where David Miscavige built his Religious Technology Center mansion.
Yeah. Anyway, so they basically bought every single house that was anywhere near the property, and then they demolished them all.
Mm-hmm.
And then because they were all demolished, there was no reason to have a street there. So then they closed the road, and then that's the end of it. Now, the whole problem was that there were houses there that people needed to get in and out of, and there needed to be a road. So they were like, let's just buy all of those houses and then destroy them, and then there'll be no need for there to be a road there.
Yep.
So yeah, that's some wild. Hey, if you're listening to this or you're watching this and you're a Scientologist, that's where the money's going, to nonsense.
Yep.
Okay. Oh, we'll definitely do the gold coins. That will be the setup for the list that we got in the episode, the gold coins.
Perfect. Yep.
There's
we
gold.
got it. We'll add it to our notes.
There's treasure. There's theft. There's adventure. Harrowing tales of escape.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Sherry. Question, Mark. Do you know what became of the girl who was standing in the sink doing dishes with you? I can still picture that image from your book.
Yes, that girl's name is Heather Ashworth, and I think she did a hate video on me.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
She worked in Los Angeles. Her name was Heather Ashworth. She worked at the Int Base.
Didn't she got married to she became Heather Willoughby, no?
I don't remember who she got married to.
Okay.
But either way, she became like an executive assistant in the executive division, which I was in for a long time. And then I think she ended up in manufacturing when Lisa got busted off Post. I think she just went to manufacturing. She might have even gone to manufacturing before that. But she, as far as I know, she still is at the international headquarters.
Yeah. I mean, she was born into the Sea organization.
But her father is out.
Right.
Her brother is out. I think it's just her and the mom that are still there.
Yeah.
I can't remember. That's a lot of Scientologists that we knew when we were kids and when we worked. A lot of either the parents or the kids have left. And the kids are no longer in Scientology anymore, but they just can't talk to a lot of my good friends have not ever been able to speak to their parents again because they left, and that's it. They work and their parents still work and live at the international headquarters. One of my best friends in the world, his mom is the commanding officer of CMO ship. And she has been for decades. So, yeah, crazy stuff. Okay.
Yep. All right. Cool Cat. Does David Miscavige have a secret escape plan when the poop finally hits the fan? I'm sure he does at this point. I mean, he has
100%.
He has like secretive compounds in multiple locations all over the world. Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
Tim Greenglass. I heard in Sea Org, if you don't mind the laundry, your clothes get pinched. Absolutely.
Yes, that is what. Well, we did tell a story on here of the girl who stole a rank, like a CPO patch off somebody's jacket, which in hindsight, that is pretty stupid because they know it's probably a CPO that stole it because there's no midshipman stealing CPO badges. It's sort of like, hey, you just narrowed it down to 80 people, sweetness.
True. That is true.
Oh my goodness.
Marco, question. Did the security on Int Base carry firearms, handguns, and or long guns?
I know the main booth did have shotguns and rifles and handguns. They did have that. And I want to say for a long time, at least Danny and Kevin and Uwe. Kenny and Uwe, they all had carry permits and concealed carry permits, and they had to have a guard badge, or they had to get something, a guard card. They had to get a guard card. So yeah, I wouldn't get up to nonsense if there's like a chance that you could be in the wrong and they could, have some kind of stand my ground nonsense where they can just, Swiss cheese you.
But no staff were allowed to have weapons. Security confiscated all of the ones that any of the staff had at a certain point.
There is a story about Jesse Prince who had a gun, and they came to get it from him, and he was like, "Oh, I'm going to shoot you if you take this gun." Oh, this is a good one. Free thinker.
Okay, question. Why would they inspect your home?
Birthing
More the question
inspections.
is, why wouldn't they? Every Sunday we had what was called CSP, which was, what was
Clean
it?
ship program.
Yeah, clean ship program. Not that we were on a ship, so why, might you ask, would that be relevant? But either way, we were allegedly given in the schedule 2 hours to do our laundry and clean our rooms. And then after that, just as in Severance, they would do white glove inspections where the ethics officer would come with a white glove and inspect your room.
I don't know why I never thought that that was for other than for nefarious purposes. Like they basically just had free reign to go through all your shit once a week when you weren't there.
Right, completely.
Duh. That's exactly what that's
That's
for.
That's why when you escaped and I packed a bag that first night, I had to hide it under the bed so that nobody would see it when they came to inspect.
They're like, Claire's got a go bag. David Miscavige is like, don't we all? What are you talking about?
Go bag.
Yeah,
go
that's
bag.
what that's called.
That's awesome.
It's called a go bag, baby.
Yeah, right.
You got
Okay.
to get going.
Yes, Una, this might be a strange question, but was there offshore training or whatever it might be called in Australia in the early 2000s? Not that I'm aware of. I hadn't heard of that.
I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
in the early 2000s?
Yeah. I never heard of the free winds going to Australia when we
Maybe
were there.
it did. Maybe some free winds buffs. To be fair, we weren't really keeping track of the free winds when we were at the Int Base.
And as we've discussed, information is so rigidly siloed between different organizations.
Salty Beach Girls said, "Oh, I missed it.
You missed it."
Said
light bulb moment for Marc.
Yeah, I just never thought that's a great, because you would they'd find stuff and you'd be like, what? When are they finding this stuff? And I'd be like, oh, duh. When they're going through your shit from inspections, they're going through, they're finding stuff. Yeah, you don't.
It is mind numbing though how improper it was compared to real world. And it's just like, I was getting white glove inspections since I was 6 years old. I never thought to question it. Like, okay. Catherine Olson at SP. Hey, Catherine, at SP Spanglish, there's a shotgun in the security office in the HGB.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Same thing. I like this one.
At Hans Christian Schwartz, you see all this cryptic stuff in chat. It is weird AF. Just IMO.
Yeah.
Hey,
well,
witness.
I think there's a lot of people in there that are using the lingo.
Yes, for sure.
It is what it is. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Apostate Alex, are you sure about that thing going to the US? Do you know what the EU has issued a travel warning? He said he was going to come to the US, and somebody, the EU has issued a travel warning.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. I think we should do the giveaway now.
Okay, let's do it. So,
thanks for all the comments, guys.
Let's just remind everybody and give them a few minutes to make their entries.
There it is right there. Add secrets if you enter that
secrets.
hashtag secrets in the chat, you will be entered to give the giveaway. And now we're going to put this up on the screen here. That's the other one. We don't want that. There it is.
There we go.
Secrets. Okay, how many? We got 55 people that have already entered. So I'll give it a few seconds.
Let's do one more comment while people get in there.
Okay. People are jamming those secrets in there right now.
There you go. I know exactly. That's You're going to pull up another comment, or
sorry, I was going through them. Here we go. Here we go.
Lindsay Campbell, question: the UK government is cracking down on migrant workers without the proper working status. Would international SEERG members have a UK workers status? We've heard of so much nonsense on this, particularly through the work the Aftermath Foundation does, of people many, many cases. So we have been working on developing resources to help those who need it, who've been put into really bad situations.
Totally.
Where their
they
visas
get
have
people
expired.
Yeah. They get people to, they have a good system. They know, they have so many different organizations in so many different countries. They know which countries they can get somebody from and to what other country they need to get them to. So then they can get them to the country where they want them. So they basically move people around like little pawns. And if the person turns on them and says, oh, I don't want to work for you, then they're basically on their own and they're in most cases, they're screwed because they don't have any form of income or any way to make money because they're not supposed to be working. They're on like a K-1 visa or some kind of religious visa, or they're not really, but they're kind of, they're right on the edge of being illegal. There's all these ways they do it. So, and I think it's also by design. So that if
Completely.
you are reliant upon them to keep your status legit, or at least a good place to hide where your status is not legit. And if you just get out in the outside world, you're going to go right back to wherever you came from, which in some cases may or not be that great compared to the Sea Org. That's another reason why the Sea Org members that they have a lot of foreign nationals in the Sea Org that may be from a place where 3 hots and a cot is a better existence than wherever they're from. So that if they have to clean hotel rooms for $45 a week, okay, I got clothes, I got a place to sleep, I get food, and they give me a little bit of money for coffee and cigarettes. So unfortunately, that is the case. And so some people, it's not that bad compared to other things. Anyway.
Until it is that bad. And then they make a break for it.
Okay. We're going to do this.
Okay. Sounds good.
Draw. Ooh, wow. Look at that. 80 people. We doubled it.
There you go. See, I told you.
If I win again, I'm getting something this time.
Did you enter?
No, it's just taking any comment. Ooh, Robert was down in the JC Comanche.
Nice. Congratulations, JC Comanche.
I've done a lot of work on a lot of mountains that have tribal affiliation, so I can feel it, Comanche over here.
So please send me an email, claire@blownforgood.com, with a link to what you'd like, and we will get it taken care of.
Awesome. We did it, folks. We did it.
Yes, we did.
When we first, I just have to say this for myself. When we first started doing these videos, I would do a majority of the talking. I'd say like 95 to 5%. I'm trying to get it to be like a 50-50 situation here. So just give me, we went from 95-5 to maybe 60-40.
Yeah, something like that.
Going towards 50-50. Eventually it's going to be 95 on her side. I'm just going to sit here and run.
That's never going to happen.
I'm just going to be here, I'll do okay. And then
oh my gosh.
Claire's going to have to do all the talking because if you cut to me, it's going
to be... He'll be sleeping. I'll have a prod rod.
Anyway, we're going to do this Scientology Secrets. That's going to be the new series, just Scientology Secrets. And we're going to, everything that we're going to tell you in one of these videos, we will consider something that Scientology doesn't want you to know. And they're trying to keep it a secret.
Yeah, and which on that note, and circling back to the theme for today, we greatly appreciate all of our viewers and your input. So if there are Scientology secrets you would like us to talk about, you can either email us or comment on this video, whatever you'd like, and we will pull together whatever we need to be able to talk about it.
Yeah, and another thing I do, which I'm starting, is when we do that end ad at the end, I just go in here because I got nothing to do until the video ends, and I just star random comments. So if you do comment and I didn't mention it, there's a chance in that little end ad section when we run the, go to the merch store and I'm all clean shaven. It's a little bit of a jarring thing now.
I know.
It goes right.
You might have to redo that.
Goes from beard for good to no beard for good.
Yeah, we'll have to do like a silhouette updated merch or something with your beard and,
beard for good. I like beard for good. We should do beard for good merch.
Yeah, I do too. LOL, Marc could never stay quiet 90% of the time unless he's asleep. Exactly. Great job, Clara and Catherine. Yes, thank you to our amazing mods. We love you guys. Glenda Stevenson, see you all next week. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome, guys. Until next time.
Bye.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to help support the channel, feel free to check out the merch store link in the description. We have Hail Xenu, Xenu is my homeboy, and BFG branded mouse pads, shirts, mugs, all sorts of other stuff in there that helps us to bring you new content on a regular basis. You can also pick up a copy of my book, Blown for Good, Behind the Iron Curtain of Scientology, in hardback, Kindle, and Audible versions as well. There's also a link to our podcast And you can get that on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to watch another video, you can click on this link right here, or you can click on this one here, or you can click on the subscribe button right here. Thanks a lot. Until next time.